Is watching poker content creators like Spraggy a good way for us to get better at the game that we all know and love? Or are they just as clueless as the rest of us and just teaching us how to punt off all our hard-earned money? Today, I'm going to be comparing a couple of very similar hands, one that I played in an online tournament and one played in a live tournament by the legend that is Spraggy. These hands have been keeping me up at night, so if you've got the answer to the question that I leave at the end of the video, please let me know what it is so I can finally get some sleep again. I'm playing a bounty builder tournament online and late registration has just finished. I've got around 17 big blinds. Now I haven't knocked anyone out yet, so I'm still sitting there with the min bounty. Action folds round to the button, a player that's been pretty aggressive and very active so far. He min raises and then it's on me in the small blinds. I've got king queen off. I think this hand is good enough to shove all in against this particular player. With him sitting on 35 bigs, I think I've got plenty of fold equity, especially as his range here is going to be super wide. I do check it afterwards like I always do with GTO Wizard, and in this spot, my hand is 100% an all-in shove. Big blind folds and it's back round to the button. Now the fact that they take a bit of time to think it through makes me more confident that my read was right. They'd be raising with such a wide range that they're probably going to have to fold to my shove, which is for half their stack. Finally, they click the call button though, and because it wasn't a snap, I'm still pretty happy that my hand must be ahead. The cards are flipped, and the button shows the monster that is the 9-5 of hearts. The flop's a nice one for me. I hit top pair on queen 7-8. Obviously, I'm happy to see the queen, but can't help noticing that the madman on the button has flopped a gut shot. Why does there always have to be a sweat? The turns are total brick, so the nutcase has only got 4 outs on the river. I'm a huge favourite to win the hands. Being out in front pre, flop and turn, we've all played enough online poker to know that when someone goes batshit crazy and makes a terrible play, for some reason, the poker gods reward them. Now, I get why someone might open raise from the button, even though my go-to resource for poker knowledge, GTO Wizard, says it's a fold. Yeah, the raise might get through and you get to pick up the blinds. If not, you've got suited cards, kind of connected, that maybe could flop well. When you get re-raised from the small blind, or the big blind for that matter, and I'm not just talking a click back here, I'm talking an all-in shove, surely at that point you've just got to put your hands up and say, okay, you got me this time, fair enough, I fold. What could your 9 high possibly be beating here? What is the small blind shoving with? Again, going to GTO Wizard, it shows that the worst hand the small blind should be shoving here with is 10-9 suited. Even something like king 9 suited is normally a fold in this situation, so he's only got decent hands. Why would you want to risk a huge percentage of your chips on a hand that's definitely behind and is going to have to get really lucky to win? Is the min bounty worth more than your chip stack? No! You've got to think about future game and how valuable those chips are right now. Obviously the button should have some hands that you can raise call with, but 9-5 just isn't one of them. That's how I see it anyway. The call is just bizarre. So once the initial rage had passed and have a little think about it, it doesn't matter what kind of excuses they come up with. It's just the kind of bullshit that happens in small stakes poker. Whether they don't care about the buy-in level, whether they don't know what they're doing, or whether they're overvaluing the value of a min bounty, it doesn't matter. I did the right thing, and that's all I can do, is make sure I make the right choices at the right time so I can go to bed happy. I slept well that night, but unfortunately Spraggy then released his latest video and it blew my mind. Surely this sort of thing doesn't happen when you've raised the stakes 100x and you're talking about someone that plays poker professionally for a living. Surely the same sort of craziness isn't going to be seen here, right? If you don't know who Spraggy is, let me fill you in. His real name is Benjamin Spragg, but everyone in the poker world knows him as Spraggy. He's a professional poker player and a really popular Twitch streamer and YouTube content creator. Now Spraggy's been killing it in the online poker scene for years, streaming his games and building a big loyal fan base. His streams are popular because he's not just good at poker, he's also really fun to watch. He talks to all his thought processes, jokes around and keeps things interesting for his viewers. When it comes to his poker career, Spraggy's done pretty well for himself. He's racked up over $300,000 in live tournament earnings, and his online wins are even more impressive, estimated to be at around $2.5 million. From everything I've seen and heard, he seems like a really good poker player, an entertaining, creative man, and an all-round nice guy. So if you ever fancy going out for a beer, Spraggy, let me know. Let's get back to the video and the hand that I'm talking about, the one that's given me insomnia. Now, Spraggy is playing in a €1,000 entry in Monte Carlo. It's a super hyper turbo knockout, which means every player's got a €500 bounty on their head. A fact that Spraggy is very keen to make clear, maybe because he's trying to justify the craziness that's about to happen. Now, it's probably best I let him explain it from here on in.
Important to note that this is a bounty tournament, so it's 1,000 buy-in, 500 to the prize pool, 500 to the bounty pool, which means that when it goes raised to 800 and then all in for 6,900, and I start with over 20,000 chips, I want to get in there quite wide. There's a good chance that I cover the original raiser and we go 3 ways for 2 bounties, so I reshove quite a speculative hand, some might say, 7-4 of spades. Unfortunately, one of the players folds, so we're only heads up for the bounty, and my opponent has ace-queen, a tough hand to beat, unless you simply make a straight on the turn, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there comes that bounty flying into my seat, €500 locked up, all the chips headed my way, skill game, 7-4, making a straight.
I had a good feeling, you know?
Yeah.
I had a good feeling.
Sometimes
Lucky.
7-4 of spades. I've talked this hand through with some of my poker playing friends and they've jumped to Spraggy's defense, but I just don't see it. One person said, well, it's just a 1K. He's probably got loads of money. He can jump in there, gamble, mess around a bit and just rebuy if he needs it. I'm not buying that. I know it's a little bit different playing online, and for these major events, this live tournament series, maybe his buy-ins will be different. But online, for Spraggy, a 1K is right up there at the top of his buy-in level range. So I don't think he's going to consider it just to be chump change or be happy to just throw it away. Someone else said to me that in bounty tournaments, the bounties make up such a huge percentage of the prize pool that you've got to get active, you've got to get involved, and you've got to go fight for them. Yeah, I get that. Sometimes there are situations where you're forced to call a short stack, say, when you've got a terrible hand because of the value of the bounty, but that's not what happened here. There was an under the gun open and then a shove. Even though Spraggy covered both players, you've got to think that the under the gun open has probably got some sort of a legitimate hand. And then what is the guy shoving with? He's put all his chips in, 17 big blinds. He's got to have at least an ace, right? Or a pocket pair. He's not doing it with garbage. No matter how I look at it, I can't get away from the fact that what Spraggy did was not poker, it was gambling. If that's what you want to do, if you need to get your hit, go and play roulette, go and play blackjack. Both of these hands really confused the hell out of me, and I needed to get it off my chest before my head exploded. They're still haunting me and keeping me up at night. Poker's a skill game, but there's also a lot of luck involved. I understand that. That best hand pre-flop isn't always going to still be the best hand by the river. That's just the way the game goes. But these particular hands that I'm talking about today just should never have happened in the first place. But wait, hold on, maybe there's another explanation. Something that I'm just not understanding because, let's face it, I'm not a very good poker player. Maybe I need to ask myself the question that if I lost in this way, and then just a couple of days later, I witness a poker pro who I respect and enjoy watching make the exact same move, maybe there's something that I'm just not understanding. Here's my question to you. Was the guy in my hand just batshit crazy and is Spraggy just a degenerate? Or am I not understanding the basic fundamentals of bounty builder tournaments, and do I need to totally reassess my game? Please, please, please let me know in the comments below. Help me finally get some sleep again. Whilst you're at it, don't forget to subscribe, like the video if you liked it, and I'll see you next time where hopefully we've got something more cheerful to talk about.